Hello princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Bbia Last Blushes. These have been on my wish list for so long and I finally picked them up, finally. The one that I really wanted to try was Peanut Blossom, which is number 8, and it's the shade that I'm using as like a light contour today. I couldn't do too much contouring because I have this one gigantic cystic pimple right where the contour would normally be, and so it was like, do I contour my face to make it look skinny, or do I want to keep the coverage from the concealer, because generally I can't do both. So I decided to contour very gently and keep the concealer coverage, and you can't see it I think, so that's good. But I did finally pick this up and I can see why people love it so much. It is a really lovely neutral contour shade, but I picked up the entire collection because who would I be if I didn't? And so for this one the product description says, easy to carry blush compact, offers a clear natural colour and a smooth finish. The ultra-fine powder adheres well for a long-lasting look. The packaging of these products is very boring. It's matte black and it has a clear lid at the top so that you can see what colour you're getting. They also have a very big number on the back, which I find very helpful so I can differentiate between the colours. The packaging is really tiny, and actually the blush takes up most of the packaging, so I really like it for that aspect because I don't have very much room, and if I was to travel then these would be really good travel companions because they are sturdy and small. There are 9 colours in the collection. There are 6 blush shades and 3 of the contour shades, which I think is really interesting. I really like that they give you a very wide variety, though I do wish that they had a nicer pink like normal. When do I not? Number 1 is a very pale cool toned pink. I thought I was going to love this one, but I actually don't like it at all. Spoilers. Because I feel like it's just too cool toned to look good on my skin, and it's very light. It's like, I feel like the same sort of paleness as my skin but in pink, and therefore it just doesn't look very good at all and it's very hard to use. So this is what number 1 looks like on my cheek. And then there it is without. So very hard to see this one. I can definitely see it in real life and it does look quite purple. It looks, I mean the purple that's the next shade looks much more purple, but I feel like I have to use quite a lot of this colour to get it to show up on my skin, and I feel like anyone who's got deeper skin than me is going to find it really difficult also. I just realised that I haven't put mascara on today. So this is shade number 1. Shade number 2 is a lavender colour. This one is quite a cool toned lavender, and again I feel like it doesn't look very good on my cheeks. However, at least this one is a lot more pigmented, so you can see that the lavender colour shows up so much more. I personally don't like it, but at least the quality is very good. So this is what number 2 looks like on my cheek there, in comparison without. I'm very particular with my lavender colours that I wear as blushes. I really don't have very many that I like at all. Mostly because I feel like lavender on my cheeks does look very unflattering. I don't know what it is about it, it just looks so strange. So this is shade number 2. Number 3 is a really pretty peach colour. It is very similar to number 4, so this is 4 here and this is 3. They are very close in colour. I actually like this colour quite a lot. I feel like it looks really nice on my skin and I don't need very much to make it look really good. Actually, I feel like a lot of these, almost all of these colours are very pigmented, which is really nice to see. So that is what number 3 looks like on my skin there, without. I think number 3 and number 4 are the ones that get the most wear for me, for sure. So this is number 3. Number 4 is the second kind of peachy shade. I think that this one is a little bit more orange than number 3. But just like number 3, I actually really like this one, even if it is like, it is the most orange shade in the collection, and I still really like it because it's like, it's a good peach, you know? And it's a really nice pigmentation. Like that was only 1 brush load and it was so good. So this is what number 4 looks like on this cheek without. I actually really enjoy, definitely 3 and 4 are my favourites, and if I was to keep any of them, it definitely would be those 2. And maybe one of the contours. I feel like I don't need that many contours, that's all. So this is what number 4 looks like. Number 5 is a very bright fuchsia pink. This one is very pigmented and I don't love it a huge amount. I just don't like having a huge amount of blush on my cheeks. I just, you know, it's not my thing. So I use a very small amount. It was like very like 1 tap. Picks up so much product. It's crazy. If I pick up too much product, usually I just go back in with my powder brush and blend it out a little bit so it's not too intense, but There you go, that worked okay. So this is what it looks like on my cheek without, and then back in again. I think that this is a really pretty colour. I just find it hard to use because it is very pigmented, but it is a really beautiful like rosy sort of glow. It's very nice. I feel like this would work nicer on someone who has a deeper skin tone than me because it is so much brighter. But yeah, I have the feeling that I have the tendency to just go a little bit too OTT with this. Like I put too much on, then I try and blend it out like what I'm doing right now, and then the surface area that I'm covering just gets really huge, and then I just look like I've got clown cheeks. And it just goes from like 0 to 100 so quickly because it's so bright. But this is number 5. Number 6 is a really pretty sort of purpley pink. That one's a bit more of a muted colour, but don't get me wrong, it's still pretty pigmented. See? Looks so much worse in real life. In general, even though these blushes are pigmented, I find them okay to blend out unless you do exactly what I just did there and plonk a whole bunch of it right in one section, and then it's probably going to stick like how it is doing right now, which is so thoroughly annoying, but that's okay. So this is what number 6 looks like on one cheek. Without. This is a really pretty colour. Again, it's really pigmented and thus a little bit harder to work with as someone who has lighter skin. That's all. But I do think that the colour is really beautiful. So what I'm going to do is take my powder brush and then use circular motions to kind of blend it to the skin. And that looks a little bit better. It does knock off a bit of the excess product, which is nice. So you look a little bit more presentable. So this is shade number 6. Number 7 is the darkest of the 3 contour shades, I think. The 3 contours are very similar in colour, so it is kind of hard to tell. But I believe that number 7 is the darkest and the most warm toned. So I'm just going to apply this to my cheekbones here, so just underneath. I'm not going to do my forehead, which I would normally do if I was contouring like or bronzing my face, because I do have to do 3 contour shades. So that means that I have to take makeup off my face, and it means that I would have to remove pretty much my entire face of makeup, which is more effort than it's worth. So this is what number 7 looks like as a contour. I feel like this one is a little bit heavy for me personally. I feel like it's hard to blend and it looks a bit too intense, but that's just my personal preference. I'm going to do the other side, which is very difficult to do because I have a birthmark here, and the birthmark is a similar colour to most contours, so it does end up looking really messy and it's hard to get a good chiseled line, which is why I think I probably don't really do it that much. But that is what it looks like. I do find that it does work, but it's probably not my favourite colour out of the 3 contours. So this is shade number 7. Number 8 I think is the most famous one, which is called Peanut Blossom, and I saw I saw a YouTuber using this, and I think it was either Lamouk or Pony. I'm not 100% sure. They were using it as a nose contour shade, and it just looked so nice that I really wanted to try it, and this shade was the reason why I actually bought all of them because of course I have to get the whole collection. So this is what it looks like as a contour. It's definitely much more natural than number 7 was. I feel like I could probably use it as a nose contour as well. It does look a little bit intense right there, but honestly it doesn't look like that in real life. I think it's just like some weird lighting thing. This one is the easiest to use. I think it's really similar to the next one. In fact, like I find them hard this is Peanut Blossom and this is, I think it's called Macadamia Blossom. I mean, I can't really see a huge difference between the 2. So I'm not 100% sure why they have 2 that are such similar colours, but yeah, because you'd think that one of them would be like warm toned or cool toned, but doesn't seem to be the case. So this is number 8, Peanut Blossom. And then at last but not least we have shade number 9, which is called Macadamia Blossom. For some reason only some of them have got the names written on the back, which is frustrating, but that's okay. And this looks a lot like Peanut Blossom, so I'm not really 100% sure on the difference. Like, I don't really see the point in keeping both of them because they, on the skin, do exactly the same thing. So there isn't a huge amount of point in keeping both. Because this is the last one, I might just put some on my forehead as well. So I'm popping up into this section and just kind of rounding off my face. Doesn't work extremely well on the other side because I've got hair in the way, but it just provides a little bit of extra shape to my face. And then I can put some on my jawline as well. I don't tend to do that much because I feel like it never looks natural. Also my birthmark's in the way. Story of our life. So this is number 9, Macadamia Blossom. So overall, there are only going to be 3 blush shades that I'm keeping, which is going to be number 8, Peanut Blossom, and number 3 and number 4, which are those 2 peachy shades. Number 3 is just a little bit more pink, and number 4 is just a little bit more peach. I adore these 3. I love them. I use them all of the time and I think that they are great. However, the rest of the shades are either just not my cup of tea or do not suit my skin or are hard to use. So number 1 and number 2. Number 1 I feel like is way too pale. It looks chalky and it looks more purple on my skin than it does pink, which I was very disappointed by because I love pink. Then number 2 is way too cool toned of a lavender. It makes me look strange. I don't like the way that it looks. That is just personal preference. There's nothing wrong with the formula of this one. I just don't like it. Then we have 5 and 6, which are the brighter pinks. Number 5 is just way too bright for me. I feel like it's hard to blend because I am more pale, but I feel like this will look really, really lovely on someone who has a deeper skin tone. The same with number 6. I do think that the colour of number 6 is very pretty, but again, I find it really hard to work with because these are quite pigmented and I am quite pale, and so I end up looking more like a clown than I want to. Just again, personal preference. They're just a little bit too pigmented and bright for me personally. And then the last 2 shades are number 9 and number 7, which I'm not going to be keeping. One of these is Macadamia Blossom and the other one is something else, but they're both contour shades. Almond Blossom is a shading brown colour. This is a dark shade and I feel like it's a bit too dark and a bit too warm. And then Macadamia Blossom is a light shading brown colour and I feel like it's just too similar to Peanut Blossom. I just prefer Peanut Blossom over number 9, which is the Macadamia Blossom. So overall, I actually think that the packaging for these is really fantastic. Even though it's not up my alley, being that it is matte black, I think that it is so functional, it's so easy to store, it's sturdy. I think that it is fantastic. I really like the wide selection of colours, however I do wish that they were more inclusive of pinks. They have 3 pinks, but I just don't like any of them, which is again my own personal problem and personal preference. It's not something that is technically a negative for everybody, but if you really like pinks and you don't like any of those pinks, then obviously that's going to be a negative for you too. They are really, really pigmented with the exception of number 1. Number 1 has it doesn't seem to have the same formula as the other shades. It's just really chalky. I think it's to do with it being such a pale pink colour, and I'm fair and it was lighter than my own skin, or the same colour, the same shade as my skin but pink, so it just didn't really work and I felt like I had to use so much of it to actually get the colour on my cheeks that it just wasn't really that great, whereas all of the other colours were super pigmented and I had the complete opposite problem where I'd be putting way too much and having to really blend it out. The problem with that for me is that I feel like when I blend it out so much, I start to blend away my foundation underneath if I have to really work at it. And what's the point of putting on foundation to cover up all of the redness and pores and scars and stuff like that if I'm just going to blend it away by using a blush that is too pigmented for my skin? So overall, I actually really, really like the collection and I would definitely recommend it. However, I'm only going to keep the 3 shades that I like because the other ones just personally are not for me. But I would highly recommend them if you do like the colours because I think that they are really, really good. So thank you guys so much for watching this review and I will see you in the next one. Bye!